Hey everyone, I'm Brett, and welcome to Nightwood Guns. The topic of today's video are my top 3 EDC belts. Now these belts are ones that I have personal experience with, that I have used a lot and can vouch for 100%. Nightwood Guns seal of approval. Now obviously I have not been able to wear every single EDC belt in the world. No one sends me stuff for free, so this is all stuff I have bought with my own money. I have an entire box full of holsters and belts that did not work out, so I have definitely kissed some EDC belt frogs around here, and I can help steer you in a good direction, whether this is your first EDC belt, or if you're dissatisfied with your current one, looking for a better one, or if you just wore your current one out and you want to try something new. Now, I know the topic of belts is not the sexiest topic ever. Everyone wants to talk about the gats, the toasters, the blasters, but the belt is one of the most important parts of your EDC kit. You can have one of the best holsters in the world with one of the most concealable guns in the world, and you can still struggle to conceal it comfortably if you do not have a quality belt. So something that I look for in EDC belts is it has to be stiff and sturdy without being made out of concrete. We don't want a hula hoop around our waist. That can be great for duty or competitive shooting, but for EDC, you can struggle to conceal it. It can look like you're wearing a hula hoop under your shirt, and it can be really uncomfortable. But structure is so important. If you have a belt that's on the flimsier side that isn't designed to carry a firearm, it can droop or sag, which is going to make concealment be a nightmare because it could cause it to spill over your waistline. That is one of the most common reasons for printing or your gun poking out from your shirt when concealed carrying. Also, when you have a belt like that, it can be extremely uncomfortable because when it sags and loses its support, it can actually push the gun into your body as it's drooping, so then you'll get a hot spot on your body. Now, I know carrying a gun is supposed to be comforting, not comfortable, but we want to make ourselves as comfortable as possible without sacrificing efficiency. There is no reason to wear a torture device around your waist, unless you're into that.
Hey, could be worse. You want to switch?
Finally, where a lot of cheaper belts struggle is the belt has to be durable. You are going to have, several pounds of gear on this belt if it's a gun in your holster every single day. And if you carry something every single day, you know how quickly it can wear. Not only that, but you're going to be taking the gun on and off, which means the clips are going to be dragging across, coming on and off the belt, and the belt needs to hold up, because the last thing you want to do is drop money on a belt and then it gets all frayed and torn up and you just have to buy another belt. So the 3 belts I'm about to talk about, I personally vouch for. I've used all of them for extended periods of time, and they are the best that I have personally found. Now, I've heard good secondhand feedback about Harry's belts if you're looking for a leather belt, Blue Alpha gear, and I tend to hear some good things about NexBelt. So those are my I've heard secondhand runner-up list if none of these really do it for you. Now I'm planning on putting links in the description below to all of these belts, so if any of them strike your fancy, be sure to click on it, check it out. And as per the usual, in the link in the description below, you can find all the different ways to support me, like my Patreon and my books on Amazon if you're looking for some kick-ass short novels to read. So first up is actually my newest belt. I've had this for several months, wearing it every single day. This is the Core EDC belt, and this is the crossover with Tier 1 concealed. I got it in black multicam. Now, the best thing about this belt is you do not have to worry about sizing. You order a one-size-fits-all belt and you chop it to your length, and you can chop it little by little to find the perfect spot for use. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, I ordered the wrong size, now I have to return it. You order one and you cut it to your size. And it's really easy to cut, just a pair of scissors and a strong hand, and you can chop this thing down to size. To make your job easier in chopping this thing down, it does have marks, so you can keep snipping it 1 inch at a time, or you can go halfway between slots if you want, but that way you can kind of get an idea of where it needs to be. Another thing that's great about this belt is it's really hard to compete with this belt in the area of comfort. As you can see, it has a ratcheting system right there, so when you put the belt into the buckle, you will hear it. So it has this little lever right here, so if you eat a big meal and you're full and your belt is pushing on you, or you have a long car ride, you can actually push this lever and pull the belt out and catch it in some other ratchets, and of course you can tighten it back down as well. So you can just reach down discreetly and loosen and tighten this belt as much as you need. This is very innovative, very versatile, and it gives you options, so that gets a major plus from me. And hopefully it goes without saying, if I'm recommending it, that this belt is the perfect balance of sturdy and durable. It has just barely enough give, so it's not super uncomfortable or a hula hip hula hip around your booty, and it's not uncomfortable in digging into you, but it definitely has that sturdiness to make carrying a firearm a comfortable and concealable experience. Just to give you an idea of how this belt fits, I have a 29-inch waist, and in order to conceal carry a full-size firearm with a weapon light at the appendix region, I chopped it to 31. It's hard to go wrong with this belt, but nothing is perfect, so here are the things I don't really like about it. So my first real complaint about this, and it is by no means a deal breaker, just something to be aware of, is this buckle actually sticks out quite a bit. You can see if it goes against your body right there, that's quite a bit of real estate and buckle sticking out from your body. Now this can cause issues with printing. This can actually stick out further than your gun under the belt, and it can leave you with that buckle printing up front. I also found, since it is steel, that having all of that underneath the buckle up against your body can actually be pretty uncomfortable. It can find a pressure spot on your hip bone if you wear it over there to the left so you can carry your gun up here at appendix. So what I actually do with this is I actually move the buckle behind my left hip, and I just reach back and adjust it back here. Most people run it up front, but I only have a 29-inch waist, so I don't have a lot of real estate up here to fit a sidecar holster with a gun and a magazine with the buckle up front. So I was actually getting it on my hip bone, and it was really uncomfortable, and I was getting a bit of printing from the buckle. So like I said, I just moved it behind my hip. Totally good to go. I think most people will probably be fine with it up front though. Just something to be aware of, that this buckle can stick out a bit and it can be a bit uncomfortable. You might have to play around with it a bit. However, since this buckle is so sturdy, it really holds up. This thing is pretty much bulletproof. Something else that I just kind of dislike about the core EDC belt is it only comes in a 1.5-inch belt. I myself tend to prefer 1 3/4-inch belts. I like the wider belts. Now, this is what 99% of people wear for an EDC belt, is a 1.5-inch belt. So totally get it. You're not gonna run into a problem. I'm just a picky penguin, and I like my 1 3/4-inch belts. I like a little bit of extra support that it gives me, but a 1 3/4-inch belt won't necessarily fit in every single belt loop, whereas a 1.5-inch belt will fit pretty much every belt loop. But it would be nice to have the option to pick between a 1.5-inch and a 1 3/4-inch belt, personally. The only other thing I don't like about this belt is it comes with this keeper that you can put on the belt to keep the flap down, and this thing is just really bulky and it prints a lot under your shirt and on your belt line. It is also stiff elastic, but it doesn't tend to stay in place. I've had this thing kind of move around a bit. So when you're chopping this belt, I would chop it with your belt loops for the pants that you wear in mind, so that you can just have the flap underneath a belt loop. Does this do the job? Yeah, it does the job just fine, especially if you wear a baggy shirt or polos or a sweatshirt. You won't even see this thing and you won't even feel it, and it'll be nice to have, but I typically wear t-shirts or tighter fitting shirts, and because of that, something like this printing just draws attention to my waistline. This does feel extremely durable, and I'm sure it is, but I would prefer something lower profile. You could probably figure something out on your own, like a zip tie or something, but I don't know, I just feel like maybe they need to rethink this for an EDC belt. Now, this belt will set you back $70 to $80 depending on what color you get, but it is an extremely high quality belt. It gives you some flexibility in sizing and some flexibility and comfort, being able to loosen it up with the ratcheting system so easily. In my opinion, this is worth every penny, and I highly recommend it. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior, the YouTube algorithm? If you'd like to support this channel and watch it grow, now is your opportunity to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and in the comments down below, tell me, what EDC belt do you use, what's your favorite, and which one of these catches your eye? The next belt we're talking about is the Wilderness Tactical Frequent Flyer belt. This model is a 5-stitch model to give it a little more sturdiness. This was my EDC belt for 6 years. So what you're seeing here is a 6-year-old belt. Wilderness Tactical prides themselves in overbuilding their equipment, and this is no exception. This is going to be the most economy recommendation that I make, because this belt will only set you back $50, and it's one of the best options out there. Now, they are local to the Phoenix area, so if you are a local, you can actually go check out their shop. I actually had this belt made for me while I waited because they didn't have my size in stock, which was really cool of them, but I've also ordered belts on their website and I've had no issues at all. Now, they do have another belt called the Instructor belt that has an iron buckle up here, so if you plan on doing any rappelling from rooftops, this is the one that you want. But I got this one with that thicker polymer insert one step up from the 5-stitch, and it is too stiff for EDC. Definitely gives you that hula hoop look, and it's uncomfortable. It will grind on your hip bones and jab into your stomach. This would make a good duty belt, outside the waistband belt, or competition belt. But for EDC, I personally recommend the frequent flyer in the 5-stitch variation to give it a little more sturdiness, but not too much. The reason it's called the frequent flyer is because it has 2 polymer rings here for the buckle, and the idea is, you can walk through a metal detector without having to take your belt off, though the airlines typically want you to take your belt off anyways nowadays, but I guess the name stuck because that was the purpose of the belt originally. Now, I like these rings because they are so low profile and they are so comfortable. When you put this belt on, you have your 2 rings here. You're going to loop it through both rings, and when you come back around, you're going to split the ring and put it through one, pull it through, and the Velcro goes down just like that. And you can see that when you have this thing on your body, those rings are extremely low profile. If you remember the cord belt and how much that buckle stood out from your body and how bulky it was, and especially with it being steel, you can see how much lower profile these rings are, and they actually kind of form to your body. They are flexible like this, so it's so much more comfortable, and it is much lower profile. This belt also comes in different sizes, including a 1 3/4 inch variant, so I love having those options of being able to select the width of your belt. Out of all the EDC belts that I have tried, this one is probably the most comfortable. It's the simplest, and it only sets you back about $50 for the 5-stitch variant. So if you want a great belt, but you don't want to break the bank at like $70, $80, $100, the Wilderness Tactical Frequent Flyer is an excellent option. Now, Wilderness Tactical also offers a LowPro EDC belt that comes in 1 1/4 and 1 1/2 inch, so you're losing the 1 3/4 inch option there. It has a smaller plastic buckle on there. That is also great if you want to appendix carry. I appendix carry with the frequent flyer, but the rings on the frequent flyer feel a little more durable than that LowPro EDC for me. But if low profile is what you're looking for, then that LowPro EDC is probably a good option. For me, I just like the frequent flyer. Now, just so you can get an idea of how this belt holds up over 6 years of everyday use, one of these ends that goes into the ring has gotten a little bit squished going into the ring, but since it's always in the ring, it's not a problem that it's a little pinched. This part of the belt isn't even 5-stitch anyways, so it's just kind of normal wear. The other thing is the Velcro is finally starting to wear after 6 years of this thing going on and off several times a day, but it has not worn enough for it to be an issue. It has never come off. It still holds steady. Other than that, this belt is holding up absolutely perfectly. Much like the core belt, this one also with the 5-stitch has enough give for it to be comfortable, but it also has the sturdiness to hold up the weight of your gun, no problem. This belt is a simple, minimalist, and affordable design that is kind of like the Goldilocks just right porridge bowl of EDC belts. Now again, nothing is perfect, so a couple of things that I'm not crazy about with this belt is, one, you're losing that versatility that the core belt has. You have to know what size to order. Now, I always recommend whenever you buy a belt, follow the manufacturer's instructions for sizing. But for me, again, I have a 29-inch waist and I got a size 32 belt for carrying a full-size gun with a weapon light, sidecar holster with a mag inside the waistband at the appendix region. So much like a lot of other belt companies, you might have to play around with sizing. You might accidentally order the wrong size and you're like, crap, how do I return this thing? I now need to get the right size. But when you do get the right size for yourself, this belt is awesome. My other complaint with this belt is it is Velcro. Now, obviously Velcro will wear, as you're seeing there. It's starting to come apart after like 6 years. It is high quality Velcro. It does hold up. But again, it's a wear point. And if you're noticing this fraying over here, just that's on me because I'm lazy. I'll loosen my belt like on the core belt, and it'll usually just end up sticking like right there. So if I need to pull my pants down, I will undo it from the Velcro and just kind of let it hang loose, and it just sticks there as it's looser so I can bring my pants down without completely unbuckling my belt. So it is not designed to stick to the non-Velcro part, but it does for me. But even with doing that for 6 years, that's all that's happened. Nothing's bleeding through onto the other side. It's just kind of pinched from where it goes into the ring. So not a big deal. The other thing with the Velcro is it's loud. There are situations in your life where undoing your pants should not be a loud activity, and the tearing of Velcro could be a bit comical. So whether it's pooping time, party time, or sleepy time, everybody's going to hear your tactical Velcro when it's time to pull down your pants. But this is an extremely high quality and affordable belt, and I wholeheartedly, highly recommend it. Now the final belt is for my leather belt people out there. Now this is a Galco SB1 dress belt in 1 1/4 inch. Now if you look at this thing, it is pretty worn and torn. The buckle is all scratched up. The leather is totally cracking and coming apart. The back of it has a bit of a dip and a bend in it. We've got some leather fraying off on the top there. This belt definitely does not look brand new. But what if I told you that I have had this belt for 16 years? Not only have I had it for 16 years, I have neglected it and abused it for 16 years. Little did I know that as I threw out belts over the years, this one would stay because it still holds up. This is the belt that I wore to my homecoming dances, my prom, graduation, wore this thing throughout college, every single formal event. I even wore this belt at my wedding. This belt has been with me at every stage of my life. I have never treated the leather, I have never maintained it, and this thing still maintains its sturdiness to support a gun. And yes, I carried a gun at my wedding. It would be so embarrassing if the one time I needed a gun was at the most important moment in my life with the people that I loved and cared about the most, and I didn't have a gun on me. So this is a 1 1/4 inch SB1 belt with the nickel buckle, and while I can personally vouch for this one, man, I'm just shocked at how well this thing has stayed sturdy throughout the years to support the weight of a gun. I would recommend any Galco leather belt. This belt will not die.
Why won't you die?
And while it may not look the best or brand new, it still does what it was designed to do. It still holds up a gun. But other than it being sturdy and built to maintain the weight of a gun in a holster, it's pretty much just a no-frills leather belt. I mean, the quality is very high. The stitching is excellent. The way this thing is put together is just top-notch. It's amazing how much product Galco pumps out while maintaining quality. All of the important bits on this belt are just like they were when I bought it. Nothing is starting to come apart. None of the stitching is coming undone. This thing's like bomb-proof. If you're looking for a leather belt, Galco is the way to go. As far as negatives go, this is a great belt if you're someone who carries at the 3 to 5 o'clock area. If you're someone who needs to tuck in their shirt, carry tucked, and you're using like discreet carry concept clips behind your belt, you can look for my video on how to carry concealed with a tucked in shirt. Galco would make a great option. This Galco belt will set you back between $80 to $100, and a lot of the Galco belts fall within that price range. After all, these are handmade in the USA. As far as fitment goes, again, always listen to the manufacturer's recommendations, but again, I have a 29-inch waist, and this is what? A 34-inch belt to fit a gun in there with the belt, and I have about that much space on there. I think that's normally where I wear the belt. Now, like I said on the other belts, nothing is perfect, so what don't I like about this one? Honestly, this is close to a perfect belt. The only issue is it's not really designed for modern day appendix carry or AIWB carry. This is designed mostly for a 3 to 5 o'clock carry. You can absolutely appendix carry this. With any belt for appendix carry, you're typically going to have to put the belt in one loop sooner than you normally would so that the buckle rests further over to the side, giving you all of this space up here to appendix carry. It can absolutely do this. It will absolutely do it. But sometimes a leather belt that is too thick can be too sturdy for that, and a thinner belt like this that is 1 1/4 inch can lack the sturdiness to support a gun in that appendix region. It can be good with a single contact point over here or with a pancake holster, but when you get up front here and you have an appendix holster with those thinner clips on it, it can be a lot of weight for a 1 1/4 inch belt. And sometimes you get too thick of a leather belt and it can be too sturdy and just really stiff on you. So it can be kind of difficult to make a leather belt work with appendix carry. You can absolutely do it. I have absolutely done it. This actually makes a good double duty belt. You can wear it and look formal and carry tucked in, and you'll still have a belt that if you want to put your shirt over it, you just put your belt in one loop sooner, move the buckle over, put the gun on, appendix on the belt, and toss your shirt over it. So this can still play double duty, but the nylon, more tactical style belts are more suited to modern appendix carry. So this Galco belt has honestly blown me away that it's still alive. The number of belts that I've had to throw out over the years, this is the one that I've used the most, and I still have it still works. Just giving these things quick awards at the end, I would give the core belt most convenient and easiest belt. You buy one, you can chop it to where you need it, and it gives you the versatility of adjustment. While it might have a bit of an uncomfortable and bulging belt buckle, you can absolutely work around it and it isn't a deal breaker. The core belt makes your life easy. Best minimalist and affordable belt is going to go to the Wilderness Tactical Belt. This belt just has such a simple design and it is so sturdy, durable, and overbuilt. It's gonna last you a long time and it's not gonna break the bank. And finally, for a leather belt or a dress belt that can pull double duty as an EDC belt, I'm gonna recommend any Galco leather belt, but again, this one is a thinner dress belt, the SB1 model. So those are my top 3 EDC belts. I hope you found the video to be useful. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Links are in the description below for belts, my Patreon, and my books on Amazon. If you're looking for something awesome and kick-ass to read, be sure to check them out and leave reviews for them. It was great seeing you guys again. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Brett, and this was Nightwood Guns. Nightwood out.